Everyone, at 6 o'clock, we'll call the meeting to order. We'll move to item 2 and do the board roll call. Danetta Roberts, Ted Gibbs, here. Martin Poor, here. Gary Gilbert,
Here.
Jeremiah Burns, Isaac Akia,
Here.
Humberto Ramos.
Here.
I saw him on there. Tracy, Robert Snipes, Regina Frankie.
Here.
Randy Swin is not here. Mark Davis, Randy Swin has stepped down. Mark Davis was appointed by East Central at our meeting. So I will say Mark Davis.
Here.
I am here. Mark Gilbert.
Here.
Metz Gonzalez.
Here.
Sherry McDaniel. Nick Sherman.
Here.
Stephen Fonville. James Forcell. Doris Stubing. Mabel Vaughn. Keith Steffen. Mike Andrews. Thank you. We definitively have a quorum. We will now go to the invocation. Yeah, we don't have to stand for the invocation, do we? Thank you.
Oh, well, join me in prayer, please. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for bringing me through today's session. Please help us listen with our ears, listen with our heart, and do the best that we. We also ask people to please bring rain. Do this safely on our way.
Thank you, Mike. Okay, now we move to the Pledge of Allegiance.
Gotta stand for that.
Yes, sir. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We'll move on to item 4 with announcements. The Board of Trustees of the Canyon Regional Water Authority may during the meeting close the meeting and hold an executive session pursuant to and in accordance with Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code. The Board of Trustees may at any time during the meeting close the meeting and hold an executive session for consultation with its attorneys concerning any of the matters to be considered during the meeting pursuant to Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code. All right. Staff has an announcement for us. Staff, if you'll put the website up and please give your announcement to the Board of Trustees.
So one thing I just wanted to share, because I know a lot of people have been asking about it, we do record and upload our Board of Managers and Board of Trustees meetings. You can find them if you click meetings. Let's see. You can see we have meeting video recordings right here, and this will take you to the Canyon Regional YouTube page where you can view the recordings. You can also view them under each tab. They will be off to the side right over here. So
You were able to catch up with all the previous meetings, so they're now all up there?
yes, 2024 and 2025 should all be posted.
Perfect. I guess real quick, I made this announcement at Construction Committee. I have a device that records and summarizes meetings that I use for my meetings so that I don't have to take notes. If you're uncomfortable with it, I can turn it off, but you're being recorded and posted to YouTube anyways. Thank you. Any other announcements? Public comments on non-agenda items, no discussion from the board, a 3-minute time limit. Is there any public comment on non-agenda items? Okay, comments on specific items on this agenda. Discussion from what the board may be allowed, 3-minute time limit per citizen. The time may not be shared or ceded to another citizen. Are there any public comments on specific agenda items? Hearing and seeing none, we'll move on to item 6, consent items. All items listed below are considered to be routine and non-controversial by the board and will be considered by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a board member requests, in which case the item will be removed from the consent agenda and will be considered as part of the order of business. We have the resolution concerning the approval of minutes for the last few meetings. We've got the approval of the September financial and the fourth quarter investment report.
Mr. President, I'd
Yes.
like to have item 6B pulled, please.
Okay, so we got a request to pull item 6B. Do we have a motion to approve items 6A and 6C?
Make a motion that we approve items 6A and 6C.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. I will say, I thank Doris for taking the time to meet with me a couple weeks ago and go through the minutes. We tweaked a few things, asked staff to change a little bit of the wordiness. If you see an issue with the agenda or the minutes, please reach out to us before the meeting so we can, try and take a look at it together and get them ready in time for when we actually have the meeting and need to take action on them. Is there any other discussion on this motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Okay. Item 7, reports. The water supply facility operations. I'm sorry. We need to discuss your
6B.
6B. Sorry about that, Sherry. Okay, item 6B.
So I have a couple of questions on the financials and what I would really like to do is I'd like to schedule a budget committee meeting to discuss some of the budget versus actuals that are in the report that's in our packet. So I'd really like to maybe try to get a budget committee meeting scheduled within the next 2 weeks so that we can discuss some of this before we bring it back to the board.
Okay, so you want to table the financial and then wait for the budget committee to meet. Can you share, you want to look at it based on, because this is the end of our fiscal year and you want to see your budget's actual for the entire fiscal year?
Correct.
Okay. With that, I'll entertain a motion to,
I'll make a motion to table item 6B.
okay, so we have a motion and a second. Are there any other discussion on this item? Here, yeah. Okay. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you.
Ms. McDaniel, do you want to schedule the meeting or will you prefer staff schedule the budget committee meeting?
It could be either or, but I'd
Okay.
like to have it within the next 2 weeks if possible.
Okay, we'll send out a doodle poll or
Okay.
whatever we use to get some good times.
Thank you. Sorry for trying to skip over your item. Item 7, reports, water supply facility operations and capital projects, discussion on current drought conditions, wholesale water supply status, water treatment, storage and transmission operations, current and near-term capital improvement projects.
And on most of this, there are updates for the drought conditions, the water supply and water treatment operations in your packets. Unless there are questions for that, I'll have a couple things on some of the projects. Just real quick, Lake Dunlap, not really a facility update, but after the Board of Managers meeting last week, we did have a tour of that facility. Probably had, 15, 20 people attend. I think it was very helpful for everybody that attended to kind of, lay eyes on what we actually talk about in the meetings. So we can schedule another one. We love to show off our facilities anytime anybody wants to see it. But I think in the future, the next one, we're going to try and schedule a tour at the Hayes Caldwell facility after that Board of Managers meeting, and then also get out to the Wells Ranch facility. So anyway, just wanted to let everybody know. I think those are good activities. Hayes Caldwell Water Treatment Plant. We did advertise the Reedville pipeline. It was advertised on the 19th of September. We had a pre-bid meeting last week. It was non-mandatory, so we only had a couple of attendees. We are going to be opening bids on the 17th. I will be seeking a recommendation at the next construction committee meeting, provided that we get a bid that we can recommend. I'll be seeking a recommendation from the construction committee at the next meeting, as well as the Board of Managers, so that we can request approval from the Board of Trustees in November for a construction contract. That will keep us on track to start construction in December. And just as a reminder, we have to start construction no later than December 18th to meet the requirements in the wheeling agreement between Canyon Regional and Maxwell. So that's all on track. Any questions on that project before I move on? All right. The The second mobile membrane unit, we've been coordinating with TCEQ. That's all hooked up and ready to go. They came back with some additional requirements that we need to meet before we can put it in service. They also told us that we could not run the rental unit that's been running the last couple of years. But Mr. Telfer made some phone calls and did some coordination and reminded them that we can't take that rental unit down. So it is going to be kept in service until we meet all these requirements. And we're, working as fast as we can to, we're going to have to get some additional plan sheets from the consultant and some design work so that we can put in some additional valving and a couple other requirements. But no worries with just in case you hear it from somewhere else, we're not taking the rental unit offline. That will be kept in service. The pilot study, that is ongoing. They're now in the second phase. Is that correct, Mr. Telfer, for the pilot studies? Okay.
Actually, it just started.
Adam, I'm going to have to ask you to grab a mic. Most people online can hear us.
Yes, we're in stage 2 of the pilot testing out at Hayes Caldwell. Stage 2 will last about 30 days. And then as we get into the first part of November, we're going to enter into stage 3. Stage 2 is where the meat of the information is collected on how these membranes work with Hayes Caldwell water.
Adam, are you still doing a 90-day full spun pilot?
Yes. Yeah. So they just completed stage 1, which was 30 days. Stage 1 is them getting used to the water, setting up their different parameters within their pilots, and getting to the point where they can actually enter into stage 2, where they can't touch their pilot at all. And it just has to run for 30 days. And we see how well it runs. Then when they get into stage 3, they do some additional testing, and they do about 10 to 15 days of additional testing where they'll ramp it up to its highest flow, they'll bring it down to a low flow, and they'll gather data for all of that. And then the last 15 days of stage 3 is just putting all that data together and double checking it and making sure that it all jives well.
Thank you. What was the issue about the second membrane and the operations of it? Why did the state try to limit its access or use it? We couldn't use it.
Are you talking about the pilot?
Yeah.
Or not the pilot, but the Paul membrane trailer?
Yeah.
Some of the really not a big issue. They generally come back with different various items that you have to do to run. So we really don't have that many big items to cross off the list. We just got some plans and stuff that we got to submit to them.
Okay.
The first unit, just to clarify, we do have an exception letter to run the first Paul unit. It goes back to 2021, and 22. And so TCQ kind of came back and they're like, well, we don't want you guys running this, but it's kind of like, well, you already told us we could. So
Thank you.
Excuse me, Adam, can you tell me at what point the rental trailer will be taken offline and returned and we won't be paying rent anymore?
I do not know an answer to that.
Okay, we won't have to run those things, both of them, will we?
Yes.
Oh, so we've gone to that point where we've got to rent one and we bought the new one.
Yes, sir. The permanent membranes there are just in danger of imminent failure if we don't do that.
Okay.
Yeah, you've got a second trailer now basically to buy you even more time on your original Coke filters while the pilots are going through and they're looking for a long-term fix.
Okay, I was under the impression it would replace the rental trailer.
No, sir.
I guess not.
Just for additional capacity.
Continue on.
Yes, sir. I don't really have an update. City of San Marcos, we'll be discussing that in executive session. Then Wells Ranch, we're still doing some coordination with the Wells Ranch 3 members to figure out the best path forward with that project, with the Bloomberg project. And once we figure that out, what I would like to do is schedule a meeting with all of the Wells Ranch members to talk about kind of more of a long-term strategy and the next project. I have a couple of member entities that have reached out to me, wondering what's next, which we don't really have the answers yet, but we need to start having those discussions. So I'll be scheduling those meetings. That's all I have for 7A.
Okay, any questions for staff on 7A? 7B, External Affairs, Regional Planning and Administrative Reports, a discussion on regional partnerships, regulatory agencies, groundwater districts, regional water planning, long-term capital improvements, legal and legislative matters.
So I'll start with the Regional Planning Group. The 2026 water plan was approved at the October 2nd meeting. Discussions started pretty much right away on the next cycle, and kind of some of the preliminary, groundwork, discussions for getting that next cycle started. So we'll make sure we stay involved on that and keep a close watch on that plan as it develops. I did not see on the website when the next planning meeting was going to be held, going into next year. So I don't have a date on that. The GMA 13, they had a meeting last week. Their groundwater availability model was planned to be submitted to the Water Development Board last month. That got delayed. They will be submitting it on the 24th. Probably one of the more notable things. So the Texas Water Development Board has put out some new management plan requirements that are going to kind of, in my opinion, the reason I wanted to mention this is kind of one of the first shots about aligning the districts. And what they're looking to do is realign the districts so that their DFCs are monitored kind of in the same timelines. Right now, they're decadal timelines, not the same decadal timelines. They're not all the same, and so it's hard to compare them, from one district to the next. So that's, I guess, what they're trying to do is get that in alignment. I hope that's the first of a few steps that are going to be taken to get all the groundwater districts on the same page. We'll see how that goes. Their next meeting will not actually be held until January the 9th of next year. Gonzales Groundwater District, they actually have a meeting tonight. I don't really have anything notable to report on that. Guadalupe Groundwater District, they did have a meeting on October the 9th. One of the interesting things, that included a permit hearing for a golf course development. They wanted to produce additional Wilcox water. That development's name was Ranchy McRanch Face. Interesting. That permit was unanimously denied, and I think they'll have to bring that back to the district at a later date. We are continuing our communication on and coordination with the district and landowners regarding the Bright property, and we'll also be discussing that later as well. Their next meeting will be in November. The Alliance Regional Water Authority, we did have a special board meeting on the 9th to approve selection of a CMAR for the water treatment plant expansion project. And that selection was made. The organization's name is Haskell. I haven't worked for them before, but that also was a unanimous decision by the selection committee. And we are continuing coordination both internally and with GBRA to discuss potential litigation regarding the design deficiencies in the water treatment plant. Those discussions are ongoing. We actually had interviews today for potential litigation attorneys so that we can keep that process going. Our next regular board meeting is scheduled for October the 29th. And we actually have an item in general business related to the Alliance Water Authority that we'll be talking about later today. And that's all I have.
Questions for Staff on the first parts of item 7B.
Where are we with the regional Gonzales versus Guadalupe County issue on the paperwork?
You mean on how much water we have?
No,
Or-
where they put one county versus the other county? Regional, yeah, regional.
So.
Sorry. I don't think I pronounced that correctly,
I
yeah.
apologize. So,
No.
the committee did, grant our request to fix that so that our project is identified in the correct county. Now, there were a couple of other, details regarding the project that we requested. We did miss the deadline, for those requests. Those weren't as urgent as the one we did get fixed. The other details, we can request amendments, later on and get that changed. So. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, if there are no other questions, we'll ask legal. Any updates?
You'll hear from me during the executive session.
Trey said we'll hear from him in the executive session. He has nothing else to add. Okay, we'll move on to item 7C, committee and board of managers reports. The executive committee met to discuss the agenda. Budget committee, we heard will be, I'm sorry, Sherry, I'll let you speak for the budget committee.
I didn't have a meeting yet. I'm trying to schedule.
You're trying to schedule a meeting in the next couple of weeks, as we heard earlier in this
Possibly in the
meeting.
next 2 weeks before the end of October.
Thank you. Construction committee.
Carrie touched on most of these items. We did have some extended discussion on the Phase 1 Hayes Caldwell Water Treatment Plant upgrade. The leaking tank there was some leakage on a tank. There was some discussion about a liner. It was crack injected, and we believe that will resolve the leaking to within the acceptable standard, which was a good amount. So I think we calculated in the meeting 42 gallons per hour, and spitball, and everybody thought we were well under that.
Yeah, I think, Nick, what may be important to let them know is it's not like water gushing out of a tank or water running and pooling damp places around the tanks.
So the crack injection seems to have resolved that. We touched on we've already talked about the mobile membrane unit and the pilot study. We did not have a good update on the well number 1 emergency repair. Mr. McMullen was out. Did we get drilling? We thought we were drilling
I was incorrect about that. We are waiting for TCEQ approval to actually start drilling. We need to get a deed document to them, for the new footprint of the well. And
Did they
then,
provide any type of ETA on that?
it's in Canyon Regional's court. We're going to get it to them as soon as possible.
Okay. But other than that, Carrie already touched on all the items we discussed.
Nick, will you touch on the currency conversion real quick on the potential change order? I think that's important.
So we have a potential change order on the Phase 2 project that is tied to currency exchange. So we have equipment coming from overseas that the change in the position of the dollar globally is potentially going to cause us a change order. I closed my notes here. It was like $140,000.
Yeah, roughly. Yeah.
So I find that to be extremely silly. The way the contract is written, we're on the hook for it. The committee did discuss when the dollar goes the other way, we've never been given credits back. So bottom line is we're going to have to pay this, and everyone should hear what I'm saying and go check your contracts at your home entity to make sure you do not allow for any change orders tied to currency exchange, because something I've never heard of before. I don't think Carrie or Brandon had ever heard of it before. It's really, really a silly thing, in my opinion, that we need to have a change order to pay this, but we are, according to legal, on the hook for it.
And I did get a formal legal opinion that I can share on that to give more.
But that's still, just in general, we're still
Yes, sir.
responsible for it.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Can you clarify, you said 48 gallons a minute is leaking out of that tank?
The standard for it's a problem is 42 gallons a minute based on the volume of the tank.
Right.
So with just a simple dampness present on the surface, it's not 42 gallons or 42 gallons an hour. It's not 42 gallons an hour.
Okay.
So the crack injection worked because the committee had some real concerns about warranties. This is not, we didn't want a liner if a full liner was what the resolution is, but the crack injection seems to have resolved.
So 42 gallons an hour is the minimum standard.
To dictate whether it is a problem.
Okay.
So since everyone believes we're under that volume.
We're below
It's
the criteria.
not, yes, it's not a leak
Thank
per
you.
the standard. And we quoted the standard, but I closed my
AWWA
notes.
standard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Is that leak caused by a bad weld?
So it was at the joint between the bottom slab and the wall slab. They make a pocket basically, and then the wall slab goes into it. There's what's called water stop that's embedded in the bottom slab, and then it's poured in the wall as well. It's a common location for a leak to occur. So
All right.
the contractor was always stating, "Oh, this is no big deal. We have this all the time, and we fix it." And the committee was not as convinced that it wasn't a big deal as they were. So
Leaking tanks aren't something that we're ecstatic about on this board for historical reasons, but I also don't think we realized that it was, I'm thinking of leaking, I'm thinking it's pouring out of the building and it's really just dampness around the base of it. So I felt more at ease at the second meeting when we understood it was dampness around the
and Ms.
base.
Frankie was really drumming on him, and I think you were satisfied as well.
I
if
was.
That's correct.
I was, at least until we find out if it starts leaking again. My concern was whether or not they had a plan B, depending on how severe the leak was. If this crack injection didn't work, what was their alternative? Because I've been through tanks having liners and having pulled back out and put back in, and it gets to be a mess. And so that's where my Spanish Inquisition came from for the guy.
Okay, questions for the construction committee?
Actually, I have one more thing, in regards to the 19, the list of concerns. If Carrie could address that to everybody.
Yeah, so we did have another meeting, and we internally went over every one of the concerns. They are all resolved. So,
You talking about the list of concerns that Canyon
Yeah.
Regional staff brought up to the contractor on the phase one portion?
yes, sir. Yeah. There were 19. Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
Any other questions?
And I just make sure, I know that we kind of delved into this quite a bit. I just want to make sure staff still understands that this was not, on them for us to be drilling on them. And if they have concerns, for them to continue to bring those up and not
Yes, ma'am.
have this as a template for, maybe not bringing them up. So I want to make sure staff brings up any concerns they have in any other future
Yes, ma'am. Certainly.
projects. Okay.
And likewise, if you have a concern, we want you to bring it up because I don't want you to walk around with it unresolved. So,
The contract review committee, I did have a discussion with Mark McCliney and Stephanie Levy, Mark with financial advisor and Stephanie being bond counsel. They agreed to sit down with the contract review committee and review and talk a little bit about historical issues and potential fixes for the contracts. We're just still trying to coordinate a number of people's schedule aligning. Mark's schedule didn't align with some of the meeting dates I sent out. Working with him to find out another date that might work to try and get that group back together. Okay. Board of Managers.
Good evening, everyone. So I'll be brief tonight. I did put a report in the board packet. It's relatively simple. The primary focus last week, although we went through the Board of Managers agenda, we spent the majority of our time really touring Lake Dunlap, and that was important. We had good turnout, just like, Carrie admitted, not admitted to, but, testified to earlier. Thank you for your testimony there. Anyway, but I just want to say a couple things about that. The importance of the managers getting out in the plants, can't be overstated, right? You'd be surprised that folks have been around for a long time. We didn't know exactly where the strainer project was going. We didn't know exactly what type of filters, where they were. And so we learned that, right? We also learned the staffing challenges that we have and how you run a facility like Lake Dunlap, 24/7, 365 and what it requires. I mean, so I think I think what you're going to see here by the board of managers getting out, the next step is going to be Hayes Caldwell. And we're discussing a lot of technical things about that plant. The truth of the matter is the majority of us in this room tonight are not experts on the Hayes Caldwell treatment plant. So we really need to visit it so we can get more eyes and helpful, so we can be more helpful to the staff in the problem. So that's going to be next, right? So that's kind of what we're doing. I think all of this is going to manifest when we get a little bit deeper in the year and we start talking about the maintenance items that we need to accomplish, the staffing requirements that we need, just all of that stuff. You're going to have a better informed board of managers. So that's what we're going for. And so I appreciate everyone doing that. And I do want to mention Adam did a fantastic job. Adam Telfar over here did a fantastic job giving us some background information and history, which was very helpful. And we also had Joe Moreno in the plant, who's the main treatment guy here at the plant. Fantastic, very knowledgeable guy. I think he's been around for almost 17, 18 years. I think he's been working here. So Joe was fantastic, right? So I can assure this, this board trustee again, that you've got quality employees out there on the ground, and, just every opportunity you get to thank them, please do. And I'll make sure those guys are recognized appropriately at our next board of managers meeting. So Penny, any questions for you guys tonight?
Questions? Thank you, sir. Okay, item 8, general business. Discuss, consider, and take possible action on resolution 2510-04 approving CRWA's investment policy. I did meet with Doris about this too. We looked at a couple things that may need to be added to the policy. Ultimately, I called and talked to Doris again and asked if she would have any heartburn if we approved the policy in the same form and manner as it has existed this last fiscal year, because we are looking at onboarding a controller who is going to require the document be amended again, and we allow the controller a chance to actually look through the document and make and suggest changes to it. Again, the investment policy has no changes to it from last year, so we can do it that way, or y'all can table it to a further date. I just don't know when that date may be.
My recommendation would be that we accept the investment policy, just because whenever we get the controller on, we don't want to have them under the gun to get it done this year. It needs changing. Let them schedule it whenever it's convenient or necessary for them to do so.
Form of a motion? Please, sir.
Second.
Okay, so we have the motion to approve the investment policy without any changes. Any other discussion on this? Yes, ma'am, we will. I promise I won't. I'm not, I promise Doris wants to make sure that I understand. She looked me right in the eyes, said this will get changed, and it will, ma'am. I promise you that. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, ayes have it. Thank you all, everyone. Thank you, Doris.
Board, they'll have the advertisement out this week.
Did we get a vote from Mr. Robbins? Just make sure.
Yeah, I apologize. Humberto, I'm sorry, I can't see you. I got to get the staff to expand it out so I just know how to take your vote. Did you vote aye on that last one?
Yes, I did.
Okay, thank you, sir. Sorry about that. Thank you, Trey. Did you get your question answered?
Yeah, we'll get the advertisement out this week, and just as soon as we get a great candidate on board, we'll get them.
That's for the controller position?
Yes, sir. Yeah. We have the AGM position advertised right now. We've actually gotten quite a few resumes submitted for that. So we should get that one filled, in the next few weeks.
Okay, item 8B, discuss, consider, and take possible action on resolution 2510-05, approving a resolution by the Alliance Regional Water Authority Board of Directors authorizing the issuance of contract revenue bonds for the Canyon Regional Water Authority in connection with the Regional Water Supply Contract Project not to exceed $10,350,000, contingent upon approval of the contract revenue bonds by participating ARWA entities. And we will let Graham Moore give us a short presentation here on this agenda item.
Great. Again, I'm Graham Moore, Executive Director of Alliance Regional Water Authority. I was going to see if that was pulled up. I've got a couple of people here with us to answer any questions that may arise. I have Jennifer Ritter, who's our financial advisor with Specialized Public Finance, and Clayton Chandler, who's the bond counsel with McCall, Parkhurst, and Horton. Brandon asked that I take an hour to go through this. I said we could do it much faster, so I hope y'all will be accepting of that. Just want to give you a few quick updates and then talk about the purpose for the financing we're seeking. We can go to the next slide. This is just an overview of our overall system, shows the general pipelines and layout of where we're going. Can I move this? I don't want to. Does this work if I utilize that? Okay, great. That'll save a little bit of effort. So just a few updates as to where we're at in our overall project. As of the end of September, I'm happy to report we're delivering water to all of our customers for the first time, save and except Green Valley, who has leased their water rights to the city of Kyle. So, but all our water rights are fully available for all of our sponsors. So we're happy to be past that milestone after a lot of effort. As we discussed, I think in the spring, we have rented some ballasted flocculation units to help with our elevated iron issues. Carrie reported a little bit on some of the legal strategies we're pursuing. So that's ongoing. And then I'm happy to report that as of late last week, as Carrie noted as well, we have our construction manager at risk on board. They're going to do both the final clarification and solids handling work as well as the expansion work at the water treatment plant. So we're excited to have that Seymour on board to be a part of our team, working with our design engineer and our owner advisor to help identify potentially some value engineering options and other ways to bring and complete the project as quickly as possible for both the expansion and the final clarification. I've got a picture here that just shows what the temporary units look like out there. This is the 15 ballasted flocculation units out at the site. So you can see it took quite a bit of effort to get those installed. I'm happy to report they are operational. We do have the capacity restored to the plant as a result of those temporary units. Now into the purpose of why we're here tonight is to seek the additional funding needed in order to improve the water quality and to put in place the permanent clarification as well as the solids handling. Just as a reminder, last year, the various entities all approved moving forward with the expansion of the water treatment plant. So we have that piece completed. This is just to take care of the additional iron issues. The principal amount for Alliance Water as a total is $33.5 million. We have a contract in place that by pro rata share, Canyon Regional share is 30.89%, which equates to $10.35 million is what we're looking to issue this time around. We have to go around to each of the customers of Canyon Regional who participate in Alliance Water. So Thursday, I'll be going to the Green Valley Board, next Monday night to County Line, and then the following Thursday to Crystal Clear to consider this debt issuance. And so what we've done in the past is ask for your approval of this contingent upon the approval of those three boards as we move forward. Did want to point out, and I believe Ms. Stubing pointed this out this afternoon. Thank you for bringing it to our attention that the general certificate in your packet had an incorrect amount. It had $12,015,000, I believe. And I did want to point out that what's on the agenda and what I've shown here on the screen is the correct amount for the issuance. It's $10,350,000 for Canyon Regional Water Authority. So we will update that general certificate before getting signatures on it, pending approval by the various entities. We go the next slide then, just a little bit about the funding. We've utilized the SWIFT funding for this, just like we have all other issuances for the project. Again, it was created, $2 billion as created by the state back in 2013 and set aside for water projects. We were able to finalize a rate at 3.81%, which is a little bit higher than last year's rate, but a little bit lower than what we had set our budget on. So we appear to be in good shape with all of that. It's about in line with what we had in the 22 rate. So that, as you know, interest rates are a little bit volatile. And so we were happy to end up with that 3.81% rate. And then finally, where we're at kind of moving forward, we've kind of taken all the preliminary steps, which are highlighted here in gray. We are at the stage where in 2025, not 2024, we are asking for approval of the resolutions by the Canyon Regional Board as well as the SUDS. We're also going around to each of the three cities and have to get their approvals this month. So lots of meetings to get all that approved. And then we will take it to our board, who has to take the last action at the October 29th meeting to approve all of these resolutions. Assuming we do all that, we will close on the loans by December 11th of this year. And then we'll have the first payment, which is an interest-only payment due in August of 2026. Again, that was already prepped into our budget, which was approved by our board and was also included in the CRWA budget that was approved by your board as well. So with that, our team is here. We're happy to take any questions about the project or the financing aspects of this, and look forward to working with you to complete this transaction.
Any questions for Graham? Thank you for coming here and giving a presentation.
My pleasure.
So we've got an action item here to approve Resolution 2510-005. Again, that's contingent on the participating members approving it at their own each individual boards. Do we have a motion on this item?
Make a motion to approve
Okay, so we have a motion. We have
With the modified dollar
with the
amount.
modified, yes.
we have a motion and a second by Ms. Stubing. Any other discussions on this item? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you all.
Okay, item 8C, discuss and consider request from Windsor Chase LLC to drill exempt wells on track 6, 8, 12, 13, 14, 16, 18, and 19 on the former Bright property.
And this is related to the, we've been given updates on this, the property in Guadalupe County that was purchased by the developer Windsor Chase and then subdivided and sold to different landowners. We've had ongoing, coordination on this. Some exempt wells have already been drilled on the properties, which this is just under 200 acres. We have approximately 54 acre feet of water rights leased under this property. Every bit of it is permitted right now for Wells Ranch. So we cannot afford to give up any of this water. The groundwater district has not taken a position on whether or not withdrawing water with these exempt wells would impact the amount of water available to us. Because of that, we are not of a mind to approve any new wells on these properties. We have filed a cease and desist so that they don't produce water from the wells that have already been drilled. Now the developer has requested to drill new wells on, these are the remaining 8 tracts that they still own and have not sold. And they have submitted formal requests per our water lease agreements, requesting permission to drill these wells. And we feel like probably the request is being made just to check off the box. If this ever got into a courtroom and somebody asked a question, well, did they even ask for permission for the agreement? We feel like they want to be able to say, yeah, they asked for permission and it was denied. So staff recommendation would be to deny these requests to drill exempt wells on these properties.
I'd like to make a motion that we decline Windsor Chase LLC's request for approval to construct exempt wells on 8 tracts subdivided out of the 198.854 acre tract of land for which CRWA was granted exclusive use of and all lawful right and fee title to all groundwater from any and all underlying groundwater formations that may be produced. Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Poor, a second by Mr. Gibbs. Any other discussion on this item?
Have we allowed any other people into these other tracks? I know they did some illegally, correct?
Yes,
And what was the resolution on that?
There's a temporary.
Thank you.
There's a temporary injunction in place from the court prohibiting any of those wells from being used. So of this list of 8 wells that are subject of this request, there's already a well on tract number 14. The other 2 tracts that this developer drilled wells on have been sold to private landowners. So we have 2 different temporary injunctions issued by the court. One as to this well number 14, tract number 14 that belongs to the developer, and then a separate one against the individual landowners who bought the other tracts with wells. And so under the terms of that temporary injunction, they can't use, equip, or develop the wells without CRWA's authority. And so they've come tonight to request that authority.
So I'm just curious if they already knew they have an injunction against the current ones, why are they requesting more?
Because the injunction requires them to seek CRWA approval.
Okay. But if they have some, if they already have some, these are for new ones that we're denying, correct? Is there 8 new ones?
There's
Or
no
these-
there's no wells on any of these tracks except for number 14.
Okay.
Any other questions on this item? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you. Okay, this time we're going to close our open session. We will convene into executive session at 6:50. The Board of Trustees may meet in executive session, discuss the following items, if any, pursuant to Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code, including where appropriate, Sections 551071, 551072, 551074, 551076, 551086, 551089, 418.183F of the Texas Government Code. All formal action will occur in open session. We will meet for consultation with CRWA's attorneys concerning cause number 250782 CVE, City of San Marcos versus Canyon Regional Water Authority, County Line SUD, Crystal Clear SUD, Maxwell SUD, and Martindale WSC, pending in the 456th District Court of Guadalupe County, Texas, pursuant to Section 551071 of the Texas Government Code, and consultation with CRWA's attorneys concerning cause number 251569 CVE, Canyon Regional Water Authority versus Windsor Chase LLC, pending in the 456th District Court of Guadalupe County, Texas, pursuant to Section 551071 of the Texas Government Code. See y'all back here in 5 minutes. Thank you. Staff back in. We're ready to reconvene into open meeting at 7:47. Oh. Thank you. Thank you, sir. That's okay. We have a quorum. Okay. So we're returning to open session here at 7:47. Is there any action being taken by?
I'd like to make a motion that we approve resolution 25-10-006, delegating authority to CRWA's litigation committee and attorneys to negotiate the details and terms of the settlement of the lawsuit, subject to final approval by the Board of Trustees.
That was a second by Ms. Shield. Any questions or any discussion on this topic? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? I saw you, Mr. Ramos, as an aye. Okay, motion passed. Thank you, everyone. Okay, our next future board member agenda items, the next Board of Trustees meeting date is to be determined. CRWA is off Monday and Tuesday of next month, meaning we've got to find a date to move that November 11th meeting to. You should have gotten an email from Michaela earlier last week, I believe, asking for your meeting dates. I really prefer to not move this onto someone else's meeting date. You know, Miss Roberts tonight was unable to attend from the city of Cibolo because we moved it on a date where she couldn't attend. I really would like to try and find a date that doesn't happen to somebody else. So please.
There was one day in the entire month that nobody said they had a meeting on, and it's November 24th. Unless somebody didn't.
That's the week of Thanksgiving.
That's the week of Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
It would be that Monday.
Well, okay, well, okay, 1 second. We'll get us back on track here. Can we reevaluate some other dates maybe and circulate around? So Maxwell doesn't have a meeting. You're typically Thursday, fourth. That's probably Thanksgiving.
That
or
is
Thursday,
Thanksgiving
so,
anyway, yeah.
Okay. Man, I don't like having to try and set something. Well, I mean, the alternative is, and staff close years, we can have the meeting Monday night on the regular night on the 10th. If we can't find another date that just takes, I mean, I don't know what else to do. I feel like I would rather have, you know, a light staff here I'm sorry, Carrie, but rather than kicking trustees
we
from being able to be a
we don't
part of
need
this.
The entirety of the admin staff
Pardon?
at these meetings.
County lines meeting is the
County
17th.
lines is the 17th, yes.
Well, if we have it on the 3rd, we're going to be, it'll be ahead of the Board of Managers meeting.
And you know, that's not the end of the world, but I'm looking at the dates here and really, I mean,
I prefer to keep it on the 10th.
not a lot of options here. And I'm sorry for proposing to do that onto the staff, but if we don't have another date where someone's going to miss, I think we're kind of stuck with the date of the 10th.
Oh, I'm fine with the 10th. Because
I'm not concerned about the Board of Managers meeting. I think we can work around the Board of Managers meeting. It's really just finding a date that works. Hey, can we just settle that just for a second to figure this out? Mabel, what day are you asking for? And can you turn your mic on, please?
Wondering if we could move the Board of Managers meeting into the prior week so that we could have our meeting on the 3rd. Because you had said that the Board of Managers meetings, our meeting would be prior to their meeting.
The Board of Managers meeting would technically be the 26th of November, or I'm sorry.
Of October.
It would technically have been the 5th, the Board of Managers meeting.
So could you move it to maybe that last week of October? So that they will have had a chance to meet prior to our meeting on the 3rd?
Of course. Would y'all be open to meeting like on Wednesday, the 5th or Thursday, the 6th? It would be a few days early.
it would have to be Wednesday.
It's really great talking.
Board of Trustees, Wednesday, the 5th.
The 5th. I work Thursday nights.
I cannot.
Mhm.
Okay.
Can we just leave it on the 10th? And
I think
have a
we're going to have
skeleton?
to. And
We don't need every admin staff in these meetings anyway. So.
No. Okay,
Yeah,
we'll keep the
10th.
meeting on the 10th. I apologize to staff, but unfortunately, I don't know how else to move this around to get everybody in attendance, and that's what's important.
You won't.
So
Yeah.
Is everybody in attendance tonight?
20 out of 22.
No. The answer is no, not everybody's in attendance tonight.
You don't know that, Martin. We could get them. I'm sure at one point, but. Okay, with that, we'll keep the meeting set at its regularly scheduled date. And now we are at adjournment, unless y'all have any other future agenda items y'all want to add.
Make a
motion to adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion and second to adjourn. We are adjourned.